I'm Chris Brogan, and I am so ridiculously excited to have a time to speak with Mr. Rex Hammock, who is CEO of Hammock, the company that I used to call Hammock Publishing. But, you know, as we were saying right before we hit record, it's not just publishing anymore. Tell me just a little bit about the line of business so it'll influence our conversation.
Chris, you're the superstar. I don't know why you're saying that you're so honored. It's an honor for me, but we'll do the mutual admiration later. But yeah, we started as a publishing company 20 years ago at a time when we were mainly focused on print magazines. We do custom magazines, or they used to be called custom magazines. Now they're called branded magazines. That whole, I mean, our focus was doing things that help build loyalty between our clients and their customers or their members. Some of them are associations. But we were quick to embrace all sorts of media. We didn't see it as our job as just print. So as we did more and more digital and video and back in the old days, managing CompuServe forums and things like that, we needed a name that encompassed a lot more than just publishing, which I like publishing, and I like the fact that the web, you can publish video, but nonetheless, we just sort of dropped the word publishing and then started operating under just Hammock Inc. And it's easy for me to remember, but and we have a logo, you know, that just has a little H with a hammock, so that worked out well too. So,
well, I mean, I think it is one of those. I mean, look at AT&T. You know, AT&T doesn't do that much in the way of telegraph anymore, and you know, we understand that evolution. You know, when you were saying that, I mean, especially about loyalty magazines, and you know, you're sort of in the loyalty business. I think that's what always goes awry with companies. Companies think they're in the publishing business. They think they're in the car making business. You know, the long-standing storyline of if General Motors realized that they were in the transportation business, they would have made some different investments. I guess that's when you said about CompuServe management and all that. I mean, for a long time you've had that view. What gave you that view? Because I think there's a lot of people who thought they were in the publishing business who, of course, now don't exist. Wow,
that's a good question. I became very fascinated, I think, because, well, it's one of those timing things. The book by the Outliers, my mind's going blank, but Outliers.
Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah, I just wrote that. But he writes a lot about just the age one had, you know, what year you're born. And it just so happened that I was born in a year that gave me access to certain kinds of technology that I happened to use, which a lot of people my age probably didn't use. And one of them was things like CompuServe. And that got me very fascinated with the whole idea of online community. I had other people who, and because I've always been I didn't realize I was a geek. It was sort of an accidental geek, as I would say. But the technology to communicate and to create community always fascinated me. So it was a natural, I think if somebody had said to me, hey, you're going to be known as this, you know, online community geek, I probably would have rejected that and gone into gardening or something. I don't know. But I just slowly got there over time. And as you and others who have been doing this social thing for a long time know that whenever anything new comes along, it builds on something below. And one of the nice reasons to continually try to keep up is that you don't have to catch up. You just sort of understand, oh, this is the next step. So I can see things that are happening today that really are more like the CompuServe forum sysadmin job I had 20 years ago than maybe if I were coming at this. I know I could not come at this from a publishing only background and be comfortable talking with you on Skype this morning or whatever. It's just not the same.
So that's funny. It leads me down a whole different line because I was going to talk a little bit more about publishing. I'll have to slide it in there. But we're both already into Google+, and that's how I actually raised this conversation. I asked the question, if I was going to interview you about something, what would it be? And, you know, seeing your name in the pile, I was like, hooray, let's talk publishing and stuff, because I've followed your blog for quite a long time, and I believe a lot of your opinions on where digital is going.
You're that person. You're that 12. You're one of the...
That's me. I refresh the screen sometimes. That's how you get the extra boost.
Is that you? Is that me? Going away? Was that you going away or me?
So Google Plus to me feels like a lot of what forums and stuff felt like back in the way old days. as, you know, even as far back as bulletin board services. There's a sense, at least right now, that it's very community focused, which is very different than what I felt about Facebook. I've never been a big fan. I love Twitter, and you have R on Twitter. I mean, what could be any cooler than having a one-letter Twitter name? And yet,
as many followers as you have, that would be good.
You know, it's almost useful, but I would say that I'm already getting, for a smaller number of followers, I'm already getting more yield from people on Google Plus.
That's a very interesting and important part, that really the number of following versus who is following is really, and to understand them, and the nice thing about Google Plus versus Twitter, which I don't see them as necessarily. I am not in the school of Google Plus is going to kill anything, but if it were going to kill something, for people like you and me, it will kill Facebook, because frankly, Facebook has another place outside of the professional place for me, and I can easily pigeonhole it over there. I can see so many complimentary things about Google Plus, but I agree with you. The sense of having distinct like let's go back to the listserv type days or the interactive listserv type days. The circles really give a sense of being able to communicate to a small group about a very tight topic, but not have to give up your identity. As with Twitter, you know, you're pumping out everything. Like, so if I have something about, hey, there's something in Nashville happening, which is where I'm talking to you from, I have a lot of people that I follow and that follow me from Nashville, because I think it's very important to have a geographic tie. And if there's a tornado outside, I want lots of people on Twitter to be, you know, telling me, hey, there's a tornado. So I turn up the volume there. But with Google Plus, like you're saying, you have the ability to sort of have distinct communities, and that's something that is a nice touch to the service.
So let's tie these things together, because as a publisher and or community guy and a developer of you know, loyalty programs sort of in between, are you already feeling, as I do, are you feeling that sort of vector where making good media, publishing, and all that you know how to do matters to that? Your community stuff matters. Do you see this as potentially a platform that some of your client base might find some value in, or that someone would be able to translate into value?
Well, you know, it's funny. I've just written a sort of an instant analysis to the clients to say, you know, typically we wait until there's a little bit more maturity in a product. Than, you know, usually we wait a year at least. But with Google Plus, it sort of incorporates so many things that are already there. I mean, you know, it works. It's really built on Gmail, I guess, in certain ways. And those of us who've used Buzz and other things, we realize that some of these things are very mature. We also respect that those of us who've seen Google try things and fail, this has a feeling that it's being that it's a success. I wrote a blog post several months ago about Google. My interpretation of Google products is there are loosey, like using the Peanuts characters. There are loosey Google characters. You know, they come out really pressed and no wrinkles, and then there are Pigpen Google products that they just kind of throw out there. This has a sense of being a loosey. You know, it's got a lot to it and well designed. Some great little intuitive usability things that even people are, I'm discovering. So it has that sort of like, wow, it does that. Like if you delete a circle, I don't know if you've deleted a circle, but there's a little fun little animation that happens. Just set up a group just to delete it. It's just, it's kind of a fun thing to watch. So the answer to your question is, I believe that it's going to find, ironically, not ironically, it's going to be a good business-to-business tool. So our clients that have business customers or business clients, I'm encouraging them to at least get on, to get the feel for it. Those that have a consumer-oriented audience, we do stuff in the healthcare field, and we have some things that are wellness centers that have community, you know, that have a demographic that's really on Facebook a little bit more. So I don't think it's going to to be necessarily there. I think if you're on Facebook and you love Facebook and you're that Democrat where all of your friends are on Facebook, you're not going to move to Google Plus to do the kinds of things. However, there are a lot of business people who still think Facebook is not a business tool, and they're going to discover that Google Plus has a lot of things that Facebook has without all the, the silly stuff that in their mind, silly stuff. So that's kind of a long answer to your question, but I think that the quicker adoption by people that we work with that are and I want to talk a little bit about loyalty, because I've got some new things in my mind that I've been inspired by someone that I know you and I like a lot, Kathy Sierra, that has influenced my thinking on this. But I think business to business is important to get out there a little bit quicker. I think that the consumer-oriented, you need to watch it and watch and see how it develops. I don't see it as being a replacement for LinkedIn or Thread. I see it hurting Facebook a little bit more for that business, the small business arena, and especially I know that you have an audience of small business owners. I think that they should start looking at Google Plus real quickly, because it will integrate in with Google Places and all these other things that they should be at least they should have a presence on too. So I mean, it'll be pretty soon that they'll be able to click. I'm connecting dots here. I haven't heard any of this, but I can just see on a map, in a Google Maps, a small business, and then you click on it, and you can enter into a circle or some sort of relationship with the small business. I mean, Google is going after that audience in a very, very dramatic way, and they've got people on the ground, and they're going to be going after that. So small businesses need to start at least observing it.
Yeah, we agree on that point. We definitely agree on that point. And, and I think your point about business to business being there a little bit more so than business to consumer, I'm excited about that concept, because, I mean, that's what I always get when I'm preaching about what Twitter is for people. And that's always what I'm getting, in certain circumstances. And I agree. I concur that I'm seeing more business people really champing at the bit over there, not really knowing their first moves, but at least getting their feet wet in the technology. One last question about publishing and that world again. I'm watching the digital projects about as much as you are, I would imagine. You're probably, I mean, you have a bigger stake in it, but I'm paying a lot of attention. Richard Branson's project I thought was interesting, but I haven't seen go that far. I don't know. My question is, I guess, apps versus EPUB type stuff, Kindle store versus standalone stuff. What are you thinking?
This is great. This is like, we could go an hour on this, but I could not be more excited for for anyone who wants to publish anything right now, and a lot of that will be sorted out in terms of some of the things that I had a little bit of a problem with early on was putting too much emphasis on, hey, let's publish a book and add all these gewgaws and stuff, and we're going to sell it through the iPad. I don't think necessarily that's what people are looking for only. Some people may be looking for that, and that's going to be successful for some marketers. But I think that books, I say this, and I credit Doc Searles for inspiring this. He once said that there are blogs that are business models, and then there are blogs that support a business model. And I'm sure you can concur with that. There are books that people want to publish that are a book publishing model, and then there are books people want to publish to support a business model. And there are ways to generate leads via publishing books and offering them, and there's just so many different ways. And these different platforms, and I'm very excited about, since you asked specifically, the Kindle Singles platform. That is for people who use a Kindle or Kindle app. There's the long book, but they've set up a special storefront for books that are from about 10 to 50,000 words is what they're saying. So we're beginning to see some instant analysis. I'm sure if you go on the Kindle store, you'll find ebooks on Google Plus, or whatever already that aren't good. But then you'll find some very great quality books too. So I think, I don't know, I'm like you, I probably buy fewer hardback books today than I did. However, I'm reading so much more, and I'm reading so much more both. I actually like contemporary literary fiction and then nonfiction, And I found it was very hard for me to read that and keep up with who were the new novelists and all I should be reading. Now I can like take a flyer for $9.99. You know, I'm gonna try out things that I wouldn't have before. So I'm excited. I think there's opportunity across the board for things that are going to be distributed as apps. I would look for things where I'm not an app developer, but I want to publish in a format that can be used by another app. So I don't want to be like, you know, I don't want to be figuring out what the app's doing. I want to make it readable. I want to make it as readable as reading a Kindle book or Instapaper or those other things that have made me realize that on a Kindle or a Kindle app on an iPad or an Android, that, gee, I can read easily and I can read for hours if I want to, and I can read on an airplane. And all of the myths, I think, that we had about reading books on a screen when we were sitting at the desktop have gone away now that we can sit in a comfortable chair and read a tablet device. So, gee, I hate to say one channel, but there's going to be a great opportunity for small businesses and for people like you and me to have, I would hope, big books that we publish traditionally, and then other books that maybe are just for a niche audience. Or in our case, we're doing ebooks for our clients who are distributing them to their customers or potential customers. And that would be like my last thing, and this is not a pitch, I just want to talk about this, getting back to loyalty, what I think loyalty is all about now. But I don't want to, I don't want to keep talking. If you want to stop.
No, go. I love it. You know, the one thing I was going to say real quick about digital books before you go into loyalty, please don't lose your thought, is, you know, I have an iPad device. I kind of had to have one just to stay up on the space and all that. Right. And I had a Kindle before that. You know, I'd had an earlier Kindle, and I liked it. And I understood the differences, the not backlit versus whatever. I mean, there's an ocean 2 miles from me. If I sit on the beach with an iPad, it's just like a heat reflector. It does nothing. But, you know, the other day I left my iPad in my car, and I wanted to get a note out of a book I was reading. And I wasn't thinking, I was like, oh, I'm going to have to go out to my car. And I went, oh, I'll just load my Kindle app on my Macintosh here. I'll pull up that same book, the note and the bookmark, and everything's all there because that's stored in the cloud. I felt like, holy cow, I am in the future. Yep. And so anyway, as you were going to say, let's talk just a little bit about loyalty as sort of our last point here to the interview.
Well, I'm inspired by Kathy Sierra, who unfortunately doesn't blog today, but her period of blogging, she had some really great thoughts and sort of books. But on user passion, how to create passionate users, of course, you know, that would work for any kind of customers. Her world is software development, and she was talking about that. But recently, she had a post on, gaping forward, Hugh's site.
Hugh McLeod.
Yeah, Hugh McLeod. Well, speaking of cloud. And she had a line in there that just grabbed me. It's one of those times you read something, and she had the line, and I'm paraphrasing it. But she said something to the effect, just help people be good at what people want to be good at. And I've been working on actually an ebook and trying to help our clients understand that, and I'm sort of now kind of teasing my book a little bit, or this book that we're doing, is that, you know, we can focus, ignore that call, that's not for me. It's for you. You can take that. That we focused a lot on searchability or findability, and then we've focused a lot on our websites on usability, on how, you know, people navigate. But I think that people, customers, our clients, ignore that. That's not for me either. That means that the other one has forwarded to this one, so I should turn that off. Next time, Chris, next time you call me, I'll do that. But okay, so we've gone through this phase of really focusing importantly on findability and usability. But I think there's this thing called helpability that we have got to learn, that our customers don't just come to us to buy our services and products. They really are trying to accomplish something. They're really trying to do something. And so as we become more helpers, or help them become helpers, and I'll give you just an example. Williams-Sonoma, they sell pots and pans, but they have learned that by cooking schools and cookbooks and other things, they're helping their customers become better cooks. That's what their customers want to be, better cooks. So if Williams-Sonoma sees themselves as being a better cook, they have a lifelong journey with customers, and they're able to sell them better pots and pans later because people will appreciate and understand why they need all this stuff. And so they got out of the pots and pan selling business into the helping people become better cooks business. So I think loyalty, getting back to loyalty, what that is trying to find a journey with customers and clients where you're helping them accomplish what they want to accomplish. And so I think the key is not really publishing or any of those, like, what are these tools? All of these tools that we use and we love, if they're funneled towards helping people become, or helping, as Kathy Sierra, helping people be good at what they want to be good at, then that's what all this is about. And that's how we have long relationships, which I think is the most important things than just one-off selling things. So that's my last word on what loyalty, I think, is becoming, is teaching, is helping learn together. So,
well, I checked while you were on there, and helpability.com is taken, it turns out. But helpability.net or org or something is not, because I registered it a few weeks ago. So I checked the same thing. Good thing. Well, Rex Hammock, we can find you on Twitter just as the letter R. On Google Plus, the new place to be, Rex Hammock.
I'm pretty much Rex Hammock Rex Hammock, except for my blog, which is rexblog.com.
That's right.
RexHammock.com is my Tumblr account, which as you know, you got to, if you're you or me, you just kind of are, serial, tire kickers of everything. So you're going to sign up for anything. So.
We have to do it. We have to do it.
Chris,
Thank you so much for your time.
This has been an honor for me. So I appreciate you reaching out into the Google Plus world and pinging me with a request. Anytime, I'd love to talk to you.
Well, thank you for your time.
Love to see you, as we've run into each other before.
True, however brief at those
hey, and
events.
frankly, I'd love to, all these speaking engagements you get, if people can't afford you, I'm probably available.
Available for hire. Well, thank you, Rex.
All right, Chris.